Hi guys, it's Sarah from Book Nerds and Fangirls, and today is Wednesday, which means it's Top 5 Wednesday. Top 5 Wednesday was created by Lainey over at Ginger Reads. Lainey, and I really hope you will join the Goodreads group because it's really fun. I like it. So this Top 5 Wednesday is about our top 5 least favorite books in our favorite series. So it's not your least favorite books of all time, it's just your least favorite books in your favorite series. And I'm gonna put a disclaimer here right now, just because I personally didn't like these books in this series doesn't mean they're bad books. It's just me personally, I didn't like them, and you're allowed to your own opinion, and that's fine. But I just wanted to throw that disclaimer out because I feel like some people forget that this is just my opinion, and yeah. So let's get started. So coming in at number 5, I actually have a tie. The first one being the fourth book in Richelle Mead's Dark Swan series, which is titled Shadowhair. It is the last book. It's the very last book, and the biggest problem I actually had with this book, which is why it's number 5, because I don't really hate a lot of books in my favorite series. There are reasons why they're my favorites, but the reason why I didn't like this was basically because the ending of the book really pissed me off. What the main character's decision was to keep a huge secret away from another main character. I'm not gonna spoil what the secret was, but people who have read this series know what I'm talking about. And it was really, for lack of a better word, effed up. I don't even know if this was the one with, Eugene, yeah. It was really effed up for Eugene to do that to a person she claims she cares about. So, yeah, I guess you could argue with me because she did it for reasons, which I can't get into because spoilers. But, I really don't like how that ended, but, that's just my opinion. So, coming in on the fifth place spot, because I couldn't decide between the two, was Fallout by Ellen Hawkins, which is the third book in the Crank series. I wish they would have stopped the Crank series at the second book, or at least made the third book from Christina's point of view, because while I do actually get what Ellen Hawkins was going for in this book, how the children of meth addicts are affected by their parents' decisions, and it was an awesome concept. I found myself not liking any of the 3 main characters in that story. I didn't want to read about Hunter and the other 2, which I actually have no clue what their names were. That's how much I didn't care for the characters in this story. It was just, I would have had Perfect by Ellen Hawkins at this spot, but that's actually a companion novel, so it's not really a series, and the only series Ellen Hawkins has is Crank, which is one of my favorite series. Crank was really good, Glass was better, Fallout was just a dropout, basically, for me, and it's not that it's a horrible book. I never think any of Ellen Hawkins' books are horrible, which is why it's at number 5. I just didn't connect with any of the characters. I didn't like any of the characters, and I'd much rather have seen it from Christina's point of view, because I really liked the concept of Ellen Hawkins making a story loosely based off her own daughter. own daughter's life and struggles with dealing with meth. I personally liked Christina as a character and how she had hit this downward spiral because that's what meth addicts do. They hit downward spirals all the time. And it was just really eye-opening story, but not the third one. The third one didn't mesh well with me and I didn't like it. So, sorry, mini rant right there. So coming in number 4 is another book that I didn't hate in the series, but I didn't really like it either, and that was Cursed by H.M. Ward, which is the second book in the Demon Kiss series by H.M. Ward. This one, it was the fact that this is such a fascinating series, and the concept of it is really fresh and different in my mind. The second book was kind of a letdown because it was really boring, and it didn't have enough Colin in it. Because I think there is only like 1 or 2 scenes in this book of Colin, and Colin is my favorite character, and Ivan and Colin are my favorite couple in this book. So when you have a full book with one of my favorite characters not in it, and one of my least favorite characters in it all the time, it just made me so tired of reading it. I was so bored, and the book is this short, guys. Guys, if the book was longer, I would have absolutely hated it. And I'm glad it wasn't longer. I'm glad it was just like a short story. Not as big as Demon Kissed, but you know, it was a very boring read, and I didn't like it. And this is one of my favorite series, too, so it really bummed me out. So coming in, number 3, is a series that's one of my favorites that will probably shock a lot of people. But that is Blue Moon by Alison Noel, which is the second book in the Immortal series. I hated this book. I hated Ever's dumbass decision making, for the lack of a better word. I hated how weak the character Haven is in this book. I hated how everyone was hanging off of Ronan, even though he does sound pretty hot. I had a lot of issues with this book, and what happens in this book really pissed me off, and it's probably why so many people hate this series. But, you know, it's just, yeah, this book, just not very good. So coming in, number 2 is gonna shock a lot of people because a lot of people know I hate this book. But it's in one of my favorite series, and I adore this series, and it's my favorite series ever. And that is Spiritbound by Richelle Mead. I love the Vampire Academy series to death, but Spiritbound was my least favorite book in the series. And I have to cough, let's see. But Spiritbound was one of my least favorite books in this series. Mostly because, I'm gonna spoiler alert this, because it is a 5th book in a series. I can't not talk about it without spoilers. But as soon as I drop this book, the spoilers will end. And so I really didn't like this book, mostly because, you know, we know that Dimitri survived the 4th book, and he's Strigoi, and he's coming after Rose, and they have to go save Victor. I hate Victor as a character, personally. I hated the relationship between Adrian and Rose, because it's obvious that her and Dimitri belonged together, and I hated Adrian and Rose's relationship. I personally was not a shipper. I hated them two together, and the vast majority of this book is them together as a couple, and I didn't like that. Another thing I really hated about this book was after Lisa transformed Dimitri back into a Dhampir, he refused to see Rose, who pretty much tried to save his ass from being a Strigoi and killing him. I get that he's grateful to Lisa because she brought him back to life, but he's not grateful that Rose would try to kill him to save him from the life he never wanted in the first place. And I just believe that Dimitri was kind of like a little bitch baby in this book. I get it. I get that he's going through a traumatic experience and that really sucks for a few people. But the way he treated Rose because he thought she deserved better really disgusted me in this book. I couldn't get past how much I really hated that they tried to make me hate Dimitri in this book, and Dimitri is my favorite character of all time, and my favorite love interest of all time, and Dimitri and Rose's relationship in this one just fell flat, and that's not what Dimitri is, and I'm glad we got them back, and I'm glad they ended up together in the end, but at the same time, I really fucking hated Lisa in this book. I think it's Lissa. I really fucking hated her. She should have minded her own fucking business. And when she snapped at Rose and told her to leave Dimitri alone because she was ruining his process, I wanted to slap the bitch so fucking hard in the face. That it was ridiculous. And, you know, this whole book, just the characters' behaviors in it really pissed me the fuck off. And the ending, can we not discuss the ending where Rose gets framed for the Queen's murder and she thinks, people think that she's a murderer, and I'm just over here like, I agree with Rose in the last book. If she were to actually kill a queen, she would have thought of a smarter, I think it was either the last book or this book right here, but she would have thought of a smarter way to do it instead of just leaving her stake there. She was obviously framed, obviously. We know this. And don't even get me started on how much I want to puke whenever Adrien and Rose almost had sex. Them trying to compensate whatever relationship that shouldn't have started in the first place was gross, and no, and end of spoilers. But sorry for the rant, guys. I get passionate about a lot of books. So, unbelievably, I have a hatred for a book much more. This used to be one of my favorite series. I used to love this series. This book made me freaking hate this series. I can't even finish the series because of this book. I can't even finish the series because as soon as this book happened, it all went downhill from here. And this one will also have spoilers, so I will, well actually it won't, they're minor spoilers, but I'll use, like, not the names of it. But the first book coming in at number 1 is Tempted by PC and Christian Cast, which is, I think it was the 5th or 6th book in the House of Night series. Who cares anymore, obviously. But words cannot express how much I absolutely hated this book, and that was because of one major thing in this book. Like, the House of Night series was already starting to fall downward after Stark got into the story. And sorry, fans of Stark, I really don't get why you like Stark. Stark is such a freaking cocky-ass character that I can't stand. I can't stand him with a fiery passion. And it's just no. I hate Stark and Zoe. They're my least favorite couple ever. But, you know, it's just, no. Just no. And that's not even why I hate this book. I can't even remember what all happens in this book. That's how much I hated this book. But I do remember a part that I hated. The part that I hate in this book so much is, I'm not gonna say who, but one of my favorite characters dies in this book. And he dies trying to protect our main heroine. And after what pisses me off is I think 2 books later his death literally was not mentioned or brought up again in the second book after the next book after this one, and that really pissed me off. If you give your life for someone you love because you were protecting them. No, wait. That's not how it happened. But I don't know. He was killed off by another character, and I don't remember what exactly the reason was. I think the other character is just trying to be a dick. So he kills him, and the stupidest thing happens to the main heroine, and then we get this stupid-ass storyline for the stupid-ass other book. And as soon as the character that I loved got killed off, the series went downhill, and that is why it's my least favorite book ever. I hated it, and I can't express how much I hate it when my most favorite character dies. I wanted to actually throw this book in the shredder because of what happened, and that's how much I hate this book, but... So, there you guys have it. That was my top 5 least favorite books in my favorite series. What is your least favorite book in your favorite series? Comment down below and let me know, and I will see you guys later. Bye!